Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a lot of fun in today's video because we finally had the kit reveal for Count Dooku and Nute Gunray's rework, and we now have two new Separatist leaders for the Separatist faction. No longer do we have to rely on General Grievous because he's very limiting to the Separatist droids. And my goodness, these kits are so much fun. They might not be meta. I don't think they're going to be meta, but they're good. They look so exciting that I just can't wait to break them down with you. Rally the Separatist forces! Hi, Holotable Heroes. Galaxy of Heroes Clone Wars campaign continues with updated kits for Count Dooku and Nute Gunray. These reworks will provide two very different leaders for your Separatist teams. Very different indeed. It looks like Count Dooku is going to be the more general Separatist leader that you probably want to use for most circumstances, as we'll see. And Nute Gunray has a completely new identity, and I know some people were a bit upset because there was this thing called the Nute cheese, basically, where you do a Nute Gunray lead, you have a Night Sister zombie, Night Sister acolyte, and basically Night Sister acolyte stays under stealth the whole time, and unless you have a big AoE damage, you can't defeat the team for the most part. But Nute Gunray's character identity is getting some big changes. Nute Gunray extorts his opposition to fulfill his agenda by forcing his opponents to choose between two bad options. Will you give in to Nute's extortion for now or pay the price later? It's a really cool mechanic. It's like, all right, you can either do one crappy thing or you can do another crappy thing. And the extortion mechanic is really interesting, and he's really just kind of, it's like a shakedown. It's like the mafia shaking you down, basically. Let's start diving into the kits, and I'm very excited about Count Dooku. On my personal account, I actually use Count Dooku quite a lot. I showed in my live stream, I use him in 3v3 quite a lot with the B1 battle droid as well as the B2 super battle droid. It turns into a very annoying 3v3 team that kind of catches a lot of my opponents by surprise, and it's actually held up some walls in last minute situations. He's going to be a disciplined Separatist attacker with high damage, counterattacks, and debuff capabilities, and he's going to have a new status effect that we have not seen just yet. His basic is called Hindering Press, and there has been a slight nerf to this ability, just to kind of point that out. Deal physical damage to a target enemy with a 50% chance to attack again, same as before, but it's doubled if the target is Galactic Republic. And you'll notice in a second we're missing a part. And these attacks have a 50% chance to inflict stun and ability block for one turn, and it can't be countered or evaded. The or evaded part, that is huge because he's going to attack quite a lot, so foresight no longer will be a concern for him. But the one thing you're going to notice that's missing, let me pull up the old kit. As you'll notice, they took out the anti-Jedi capabilities. Before, he had double the chance against Jedi, but now they took it out. They made it more Galactic Republic, which is probably more thematically fitting. He was never known to be like a Jedi killer, but he was a very strategic Separatist leader that knew the ways around the Galactic Republic, and he was a big threat to the Galactic Republic. And now Force Lightning got a pretty big buff. You might not notice it. They highlighted in green, shock the target enemy, which was the same as before, but now it's basically 100% chance to shock the target enemy, assuming you pass the whole tenacity check and whatnot, and you deal special damage and you stun them for one turn. And this attack has a 50% chance to shock and stun another enemy, and I like this. It's doubled if the target is Galactic Republic. So now if you're going to go up against a lot of Galactic Republic, which I'm thinking Capital Games is building up to this point because they probably want to have some sort of Separatist versus Galactic Republic thing, and especially with the territory battles hopefully coming soon for Geonosis, this ability will probably be very handy for controlling Galactic Republic. And I think we're going to see a lot of Galactic Republic and Separatists probably in Territory Wars and Grand Arena, so it might not be meta, but I'm thinking this anti-Galactic Republic thing is going to be very important, and again, it's very thematic for Count Dooku. And here we go, a brand new special ability, and ooh, I was getting some goosebumps watching the animations of this ability. The iconic Count Dooku the starting pose before he starts the battle. I believe Battlefront 2 also uses this animation. Really cool to see them bring it to Galaxy of Heroes as well. Master of Makashi, 3-turn cooldown, brand new ability, so it's completely new from scratch. Count Dooku dispels all debuffs from himself and gains repost for 2 turns, and all non-tank Separatist allies gain 15% turn meter and stealth for 2 turns. And repost is a brand new ability. It's like Retribution 2.0, and he attacks out of turn, or whoever has repost gets attacks out of turn, and they ignore protection, which can't be copied. So I'm guessing it's going to be like that blue status effect that we see kind of passed around in the game lately. And another thing to point out here, Padme Amidala gives 50% max health to her Galactic Republic, or just her allies in general, and there's a lot of protection protection up going on, which makes it really hard to kind of get through that protection up and start actually doing damage. Well, this, no matter how much protection up you have, Count Dooku is just going to ignore it and go straight for the health. So that's another quick tip I want to point out that's kind of coming across with my initial reactions. Nefarious Connections. Here's the brand new leader ability. Capital Games, why am I not getting a refund for my Count Dooku lead before? My goodness, this is so much better. 15% evasion and gain offense up for 2 turns whenever they evade. This shows how the game has really kind of progressed. This is like the original old school Count Dooku leadership, and it's crazy seeing what they're doing to him now. I'm joking about getting a refund because his purpose is still the same. And I love what they're doing with this. It's called Nefarious Connections, and Separatist allies have plus 35% counter chance and gain 50% tenacity the first time they are stunned or dazed, and whenever an enemy falls below 100% health, they inflict tenacity down and healing immunity for 2 turns on themselves, which is interesting, which can't be evaded or resisted, and all Separatist allies gain 10% offense, maximum of 50%. So it's quite interesting what they're doing with this, and it's definitely one of the better all-around Separatist leaders that we have in the game right now. And keep in mind, because of Repost and Count Dooku, he's going to trigger a lot of these bonuses quite quickly because he ignores protection. So one counter attack from Dooku or one attack from Dooku with Repost allows him to go right under the protection of a character, make him fall below 100% health, and inflict tenacity down, healing immunity, and then also give 10% offense, which is stacking. So this could happen quite a lot. Dooku can go around, do a counter attack on each character potentially, and already get 5, trigger all these effects 5 times, I think. And lastly, we have to talk about his unique ability, Flawless Repost, which has a Zeta, basically the same thing as before, but now they added a change where basically when he's attacking out of his turn, he's going to get 15% turn meter and he's going to recover 15% protection. So not much has changed outside of where his unique ability was before. I didn't like his Zeta before because you only got 10% protection regeneration. Now it's a lot more. You have 15% protection regeneration. And the turn meter, do not underestimate the turn meter gain that they're giving Count Dooku with the Zeta. I'm assuming that that's being a part of the Zeta, the 15% turn meter gain that is. So every time he's attacking out of turn, which is going to be a lot, 15% turn meter, 15% turn meter, 15% turn meter, 15% turn meter, and the list goes on and on and on. So he's going to be a very speedy character. And keep in mind, Count Dooku is one of the fastest characters in the game, the second fastest character in the game. So very easily, he can mod him very fast, very easily. And with all this turn meter gain he's going to be giving to himself, he's probably going to be one of the fastest characters in this game when you consider how battles kind of play out. Now, Nute Gunray. This guy definitely feels like the Mafia. He's going to shake you down. And I like that they took away all these cowardly words. He besides, his kit was not interesting before. It was bad before. The text and the animations weren't all that interesting for Nute Gunray. He's a brand new character from the ground up. And I love the direction they're heading with him. So before I go in here, a lot of people forget Nute Gunray is a scoundrel. And there's already a lot of interesting scoundrel teams floating out there. I wonder if Nute Gunray might have any place to kind of fit with these random scoundrels. But I think you're probably going to use him more with the Separatist lineup. So he's a Separatist support who specializes in sabotaging enemy strategies. And I'm not even going to go back and forth and show you the old kit because it's completely new. It's not even similar to where it was before. So the basic is called Hard Bargain. No more is it called Cowardly Shot. And it deals physical damage to a target enemy. And if the target had Extortion, a brand new mechanic, reduce the cooldown of Motivate by 1. Motivate's his special ability. That's kind of like his big daddy ability, I guess. Really interesting. We'll explain Extortion in this next ability right here in Dubious Dealings, which is a cooldown of 2, fairly low cooldown to work with. And you grant the Extortion ability to a target enemy. So it's interesting. You're applying this effect to the target enemy, but if they already had Extortion, you're going to grant it to the weakest enemy that does not have it. So you're going to be spreading Extortion like wildfire, and it kind of makes sense. If you're extorting someone, it kind of affects those around you in some sort of ripple effect, I suppose. And then you inflict speed down on all enemies for 2 turns and deal 20% max health damage to enemies with Extortion. Now, keep in mind, this kind of makes thematic sense because Nute Gunray, he's not some sort of a valiant leader on the battlefield slicing and dicing people. He does stuff in the back doors of meetings and whatnot and things behind the scenes that you don't see. So that's how he's hurting you, which makes perfect sense for Nute Gunray. So Extortion isn't quite like a debuff. It seems to be, it's more like an ability you're temporarily granting. You're giving them the option to kind of pay into the Extortion. So Extortion itself says if you use Extortion, you're going to remove Extortion, recover 10% health, but you're going to grant all Separatist enemies profit. So you can keep the extortion on you, but as you see, there's a lot of penalties as a result. But if you give into the extortion, you get to recover some health, but you're going to give the Separatists this huge new thing called profit. And with profit, you're going to get plus 10% critical chance and critical damage per stack, max of 50% until the end of the battle. So you're going to technically make the Separatists more powerful. The more extortion you kind of give into, which again, if you think about the Clone Wars and how it kind of panned out, makes perfect sense. Now motivate, here we go. Cooldown of 4. It's got the Big Daddy attack basically, but you're going to dispel all buffs on a target enemy and increase their cooldowns by 1, which can't be evaded. And if the target had extortion, you're going to call other Separatist allies to assist. So the more extortion out there, as you recall, with his basic attack, he's going to keep reducing the cooldowns of motivate by 1. So you're going to be quickly getting extortion out there, spreading it around, and then always calling a lot of Separatist allies to assist. So it's a mass assist ability, but it's not always guaranteed to call everyone. But the way the mechanics works, it looks like extortion will be quite prominent on the field, and you'll probably get a lot of assists as a result. Let's move on to his leader ability, Backroom Subterfuge. Now, it's interesting. I think Count Dooku's got the better Separatist leader out of all the ones we have currently, but it's good that we have another one for the Separatists if you need to compose a different team. But Separatist allies have plus 15% speed and potency for each enemy with extortion. Again, that's cool. Getting speed bumps as a result of extortion, which is going to spread quite a lot. Really nice to see. And while Nute Gunray is alive, each enemy that ends their turn with extortion dispels their own buffs and grants extortion to another random enemy that doesn't have it. And this is what I was talking about. Extortion already has a lot of penalties. You lose 20% max health as a for example, but it's a nastier effect. If you keep this extortion on you, you're going to lose your buffs and you're going to keep spreading extortion all around your team. So just pay up, baby. Pay up, baby. Pay the Separatists so you can get rid of it. You're in a kind of a catch-22 situation here. And lastly, Viceroy's Reach. And whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to that enemy, which can't be evaded. And enemies with extortion have minus 30% speed and offense. Again, you have 3 layers of stuff, 3 or 4 layers of negative things happening as a result of extortion. And the first time Nute Gunray is defeated, he is revived with 100% health and Terminator. And every time Nute Gunray is alive, he stealths for 2 turns. So it's kind of funny they gave him a revive mechanic. I'm guessing whenever they release probably Darkside Anakin in the future, it'll eventually say if Nute Gunray is present, he does not revive if Anakin's on the field. But that's gonna be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait for these reworks to go live. I'm guessing they'll probably go live tomorrow if we have the news today. Regardless, I'm excited to try out these characters. Nute Gunray's at gear 11. I'll get him to gear 12 eventually. And I got Dooku at gear 12 as well. So I'm going to definitely take advantage of these guys. And of course, the Separatist faction. It's kind of just collecting dust for the most part in my roster. But let me know down below, what are your thoughts of these reworks so far? What ideas or theory crafting ideas would you like to see applied? And where would you like to see these guys used? I would want to test out as much as I can with these Separatists and these brand new reworks that we're getting. Like the video if you did enjoy it, comment down below, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And we'll talk again in the next video. Peace out.
Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, 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 down. Party Richter, Party Richter. Son of a bitch. Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, down, down.